Good morning, everybody. Uh, Hope everybody's having a great day. So, today I'm working on a little baby blanket. This is what I like to call the Mocha Latte, and it's just a very easy pattern. I just sat down and started putting some stitches together, and I made it so that it repeats. So, basically, I'm doing a row of half doubles, then I'm doing a half double slip stitch. Then I'm doing a row of crossed half doubles and then I'm repeating that. So then we go back to the half double slip stitch and then the half double. So I'm just kind of repeating this little group right here. And the yarn that I'm using today is one of my favorite yarns. I use this a lot for baby blankets. It's called Lion Brand Ice Cream Yarn. And it has lots of fun different colors. This particular colorway is called Coffee. And so a lot of times with my baby blankets, I do really bright, vibrant stuff. And I don't know, I was just feeling like doing something a little more subtle, but still having some nice texture and just kind of letting the stitches show off a little bit. But you can see this is a variegated yarn, so it kind of changes back and forth. I'm not doing any color controlling. I just kind of let it flow. So, it kind of goes here from light to dark. And that's the nice thing about the ice cream is it has really nice changes. And so we just let it go. So anyhow, sorry everybody, we had some minor technical difficulties here on TikTok this morning. I had to reboot the sound, but hopefully everybody can hear me now. Jen says, that was me over there. Thank you. Thank you. So, shout out to our moderators who are keeping track of me both on TikTok and on YouTube this morning. We have Gen X and Anvil in the house. And so, anyhow, I'm ready to tie on and get started on this little guy here. I had finished this. What I got done here is one skein of yarn. So anyhow, the hook size I'm using this morning, this yarn calls for an H8 hook. However, I don't like it with that size hook. It seems too big to me, and so I actually use a size G6 hook. It's what I prefer for this 3-weight yarn. But like I said, the package recommends a definitely a larger hook. But I think it looks great with the 8, and it definitely kind of flows and it's not like too stiff or anything. So I feel like I really like the H8 size hook. So anyhow, hopefully this is showing up all right here. And all I'm doing right now is I'm just finishing this row of half double crochets. So it's very easy. A lot of times I do double crochets, but I wanted something not quite so tall as I was working along this baby blanket. So all this row is we're doing is just a row of half double crochets. Um, Starting chain, I don't know how many starting chains I did. I just made sure it was an even number. So if I kind of go more by size when I'm doing my baby blankets rather than starting chain. So the size that I have, I'm at 30 inches this morning. So I like my baby blankets to be between 30 and 36 inches. So kind of my thought process was is I'll make it 30 wide and then I have room if I want the max size of 36. So, if I go 32, that would add 2 inches all the way around, and that would be kind of a good size for me. So that's kind of how I gauge this. And I'm very excited. You guys sit here and watch me wheel up my little measuring tape every day. I was watching Creative Grandma and Cody yesterday, and they got Happy Mail, and somebody gifted them retractable tape measure. I thought, well, that's what I need. I need a retractable tape measure. Then I don't have to sit here and wind this up every day. So anyhow, I ordered myself one from Amazon. I'm very excited. It's going to come this weekend. So anyhow, who would have thunk it, right? The little things in life that make, I don't know, life just a little better, I guess. Mama Wheeler is in the house. Good morning, Mom. We all missed you on the live yesterday. I hope you and Papa Wheeler had a good day down there in Florida, nice and sunny. It's a balmy 25 here this morning in Alabama. I know I shouldn't be complaining because I'm sure there's other places that are even colder than what we are, but I went out and filled the bird feeders this morning. I did get my new camera set up for my YouTube, and I'm very excited. It's got kind of a new angle, but I ended up getting a Ario Link, Rio Link. I think maybe Rio Link. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that name. I've experimented with several different cameras, and anyhow, the live stream is up, and boy, that burning bush is just beautiful. But when I went out and filled the feeder this morning, there was frost on the sunflower seeds left over from last night. And I thought, oh, these poor little birds. Mama needs to get her butt out here and give them some feed. So they got sunflower seeds and peanuts and some mealworms this morning. And anyhow, it's like I said, it's 25 here. Hopefully by this weekend it'll start warming up a little bit. We've had definitely a cold snap come through, but like I said, I'm sure everybody is uh, experiencing cold weather. Now, my boss said yesterday over in Phoenix it's 55 in Phoenix, Arizona yesterday. That's their cold. I do remember it getting down to colder than that though when I lived there, but still, uh, 55 is pretty cold for Phoenix this time of year, especially. It's usually colder, I think, more as they head into January. So I'm just grateful to be in this nice warm house with my blankie this morning. This blankie I crochet with is an electric blanket, and I'm not too ashamed to admit, boy, I've got that sucker on high this morning. My little feets were cold, and boy, yesterday. Um, my feet were cold all day. I had my sweatpants on and my long sleeve shirt in my office working. I had my house shoes on. But boy, even when I went to bed, my feet, it took a long time to get them warmed back up. Okay, so let me think about what I'm doing here now. I'm coming to the end. I just finished our row of half doubles. So now what I need to do is, you can see this is a repeating. So I did if we look here, here's our crisscrosses, here's the half double I just finished. So now this little ridge of texture here, this is a half double slip stitch. So I'm going to do that for the next row. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to chain up one and turn my work. This is this new little stitch that I discovered, and I'm really enjoying this. Okay, so what I do for this half double slip stitch, I wrap my yarn around, I go down in under the two bars just like you would normally do, and draw up a loop. So this is like you're set up to do a half double. Instead of yarning over and pulling through, what I do is I take this very first loop and I slide him under these two loops here. I kind of turn my work and I just pull it through. And then I do another like half double. So I yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop. So again, we have three loops on our hook. Now I'm not going to yarn over. I'm just going to take this very first loop that's closest to my hook head here, and I'm going to slide it under these two here and just pull it through. And I'm just going to keep repeating that the whole way down. So slide this guy under these two. And it is putting the texture onto the side away from us, the front side of the work as I do this. And we're just going to continue working these all the way down. So if we turn now, you can kind of see there's that little texture that we're looking for. So it's a nice alternative to a single crochet. I use single crochet a lot. But this, I just love this little ridge of texture it's putting on this work. I just think it looks fabulous. So anyhow, that's Annie Key said it looks great on hats. Yeah, I think it does. Now, one of the things I've kind of noticed as I'm doing this is it does. For whatever reason, my stitch counts. I am having a hard time keeping track of my stitch counts on this. So you'll see I have stitch markers all over this blanket, as I kind of work my way through. And I think the reason why it's getting off track for me, if I take off my hook, I've analyzed this a lot as I've been working on this little stitch. So normally when you do a single crochet, your tops of your stitches would line up exactly the same. But what is happening when I do this stitch, because it's a slip stitch, the top of the stitch, if you will, this here, actually ends up kind of back a little bit. So here is the stitch here, and then here how it sits kind of a little back. I think that is one of the reasons why I'm getting my stitch counts a little confused as I'm working on this. So I've really been trying to study this and figure out, like, why am I struggling so much? But I really think it's because of how that stitch sits over to the right just a smidge. I think it, by the time I get to the end of the row, it is just mentally throwing me off a little bit. So that's okay. I just am using stitch markers, right? Just whether you're a beginner or you've been crocheting a lot of years like me, it doesn't matter. If you are struggling with your stitch counts, have no shame. Get your stitch markers out and just help yourself by marking where you're at. So anyhow, this right now, the stitch I'm doing is a half double slip stitch. So I do just like I'm going to do a half double. I wrap my yarn around, I go underneath the top of the stitch, those two bars, and I grab a loop just like I'm going to do a half double. Now we have three loops on our hook. Now instead of yarning over and bringing my hook, that yarn through, instead I'm just going to take this very first stitch here and I'm going to put it under these two. And I just kind of turn my hook and let those slide right on. Now I repeat that over and over the whole row. Now, one little tip I can give you as I was first learning this, normally when I am drawing my yarn through, I make my hook face me, my little top of the hook here. And then I grab the yarn like this and I pull it through. And what I found, do you see how that is really not wanting to pull through? The way that this middle stitch comes off the back of the work, I was having a real kind of roadblock here as I was trying to pull this through. I was getting a little frustrated, if I'm being honest. And so, what I kind of figured out is, instead of what I'm in the habit of doing and putting my hook forward, if I turn my hook backwards and pull it through, it allows that to slide on a lot easier. So simply changing the angle, changing the direction that I'm pulling this yarn through these stitches made everything really come together for me. So that's a little tip I can share with you. If sometimes you're struggling to get something, to work through and you're coming up with a bit of a roadblock, just try to look at it from a different perspective. Change the angle, change the direction that you're working it. And that could really help you as you're trying to get these stitches worked. So anyhow, um, I started my pointing my hook away and then twisting down to the corner, and it comes right through. Aniki said, "Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I'm doing." So just change your angle a little bit. But like she said, it works great on hats. I just started this skein, and I've got some tangles here this morning. Once I get through this little mess here, it'll be free flowing. I love this Lion brand yarn, guys. It is one of my favorite yarns to work with for baby blankets. It's just really fun colors. It's 100% acrylic, but it is a 3-weight yarn. I use a size G hook on it, and I just love the result of how it looks. It's a relatively soft yarn. It's not the softest that I've ever used, but it definitely is a really nice yarn to work with, and so many fun colors. So if you haven't tried the Lion Brand ice, I'm not an affiliate of Lion Brand or anything, guys. I just really love their ice cream yarn. What is the first row of the repeat? Jody asked. So, if we look down here at the very beginning, I just did a starting chain, okay, And then I don't remember how many I did, guys, for the starting chain. I crocheted until I got 30 inches. Then what I did is I came back, turned my work, and I came back with a half double. Then I did a half double slip stitch, which is what we're doing now. And then I did another half double. So I kind of put two half doubles to kind of make it a little flat here before I got to my crisscrosses. I wanted a little spacing before so that crisscross would kind of pop out at you. And then I did another row of the half double slip stitch. Again, what we're doing now. Then I did crossed half double crochets. Now, normally I do crisscross double crochets, but I kind of thought, let's try to make them a little shorter and see what happens. See if it kind of changes the look of it. And then again, I did the half double crisscross, and then I was back to right down here. So really, this is the repeat right here. So it's a very simple 6-row repeat, uh, half double slip stitch, another half double slip stitch, half double crisscross. And then again, half double slip stitch, and then you're back to repeat. So very, very easy. But I wouldn't say there's necessarily a pattern for this. I'm just putting together stitches, if that helps. Are you half double crochet in both stitches or the back loop only? YOLO, I am working in both stitches. So I'm not doing anything in the back loops, just working under both stitches. The texture is coming from the stitch itself. So when I do this half double slip stitch, I yarn over. Here is our two loops. So what they're asking is, am I going under just the front loop or the back loop only? The answer is no, I'm going to go under both. So I yarn over, go under both bars, grab that loop. Now, instead of yarning over and pulling through all three, I just do a slip stitch. I bring that first one under the other two, and that is your half double slip stitch. But when you do that, that's what's creating this really cool looking line of texture. Yeah, it does give it a lot of texture. Um, Sorry, guys, there's a lot of people on the TikTok this morning. We've got 140, and I will apologize right now. I am missing some of your comments. Please, please do not take it personal. I do my very best to keep up with the comments, but I will unfortunately miss some of those. So feel free to ask again. I'm not intentionally trying to overlook you or not answer you, okay? And I saw a lot of new followers popping up this morning as well. And good morning. Thank you, all you newbies who have found me this morning and our fabulous little group here. For those that don't know, my name is April. And I am not a professional crocheter. I'm just a hobby crocheter. And I come on here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings and I crochet with my friends. I kind of show them the projects that I'm working with, but we have a marvelous little group here and feel free to give me a follow. And like I said, every day I'm kind of working on something different. I always have a lot of projects in the works. Yesterday I was working on a Christmas blanket. Tomorrow I'm going to be starting a new project. I'm going to be doing the Study of Snow pattern by Mikey at the Crochet Crowd. It's one of my favorite patterns. I have done it before and I'm really excited. I'm going to be using more of the Lion Brand roving yarn, which is nice and fluffy. I got it on clearance at Mary Maxim and I'm excited to start another new project with you all. But anyhow, I'm glad you guys are all here. Oh, Sparky is in the house. Miss Sparky, how are you feeling? Sparky had strep throat. Goodness gracious. We've got a lot of sick people right now. It kind of, I think, has to do with the weather change. And Amy messaged me. She's a little under the weather. She might be going to the doctor this morning. My friend Carol isn't feeling the greatest right now. So I know a lot of folks are battling the illnesses. But for those that didn't get to see me yesterday, I hope everybody had a fabulous Thanksgiving. We had a good Thanksgiving here in Alabama. I ended up not smoking the turkey. It was just too darn cold. I couldn't bring myself to go out there and get the wood chips in the smoker and wait for it to heat up. I just did my turkey in the oven. I talked to my husband and I said, "Are you going to be heartbroken if I don't smoke a turkey?" And he said, "Babe, I don't care." He goes, "My mom never smoked the turkey. She always did it in the oven. Just do it in the oven. It'll make the house smell good. It'll be nice." Tanya said, watching you motivates me to get my chores done so I can crochet. I wish I could say the same thing, Tanya. I just let my chores go right now. That I'll tell you, I have quite a mess in the kitchen with dishes and stuff. And I shouldn't be sitting here crocheting with you all. I should be in there getting those dishes done. But it's more fun to be here with all of you. What can I say? And it's more relaxing before I have to go to work to do some crocheting. So anyhow, I'm glad I'm a motivator. Oh, Veronica has a cold too. She said I caught my husband's cold. Oh, what a bummer. I'm sorry y'all are feeling under the weather. Get lots of rest. Take your emergency. Get lots of rest. That is what you need to do when it's cold. So hopefully you can get to bed early. And Amy said last night when I was messaging with her, she said she was going to make some hot lemon and honey drink so that she could take that and then go crawl into bed. So that works really great too. And we all just did turkey, so maybe cook you up some turkey broth. Make a little turkey noodle soup or something, turkey and rice soup. Get that good collagen in you. That stuff is great. Now I have to say, normally I do cook down my turkey bones and I make some broth and then I can it, but I was not feeling motivated. So I was a slacker. I did not do my turkey um, broth. And I will regret that later on, but I do have still quite a stash of it in the pantry. So I'm not completely out right now. Let's see. What stitch am I doing? Anastasia, I am doing a half double slip stitch. Lori, yeah, this stitch is the half double slip stitch. If you're just hopping on, let me show you. We're coming on at the end of the row here. So let me show you how I'm doing these as we work our way to the end. So I make just like I'm going to do a half double and I yarn over and then I go down under the two stitches, the two loops on the top of my crochet here. I don't go under just one, go under both, grab up a loop, and now we have three loops on our hook. Now, normally with a half double, you would yarn over and pull under all three. I'm doing these a little different. So this little stitch here, the very first one, I'm going to take my hook, I'm going to drag him under these two loops here. So I just simply pull it and let those slide on. And that is your half double slip stitch. Let's do a few more here. And I'll kind of show you what I'm doing. So again, here's our little first stitch. Grab him and pull him under the other two. Hopefully you guys can see that on the video here. Let me try to get a little closer to y'all on TikTok if you can see this. So I yarn over and then I pull under those two loops and let them slide right on. That is your half double slip stitch. The nice part about the half double slip stitch, I'm using this basically in place of a single crochet. And what it's doing is it's putting these rows of texture onto my project. And like I said, I'm losing my count a lot on this. So you can see I've got stitch markers. I'm trying to keep track of my stitches. But basically for this blanket, there's not really a pattern. I just started doing stitches. So I'm doing a row of half double. Then I'm doing the half double slip stitch, another half double slip stitch, crisscrossed half doubles, and then another row of half double slip stitch. And I'm just repeating that. So you can kind of see this is like the little repeat here, but technically it's right here, the repeat. So anyhow, that's one of my favorite things to do is just sit down, not have to think about a pattern or follow something, just put together stitches that I know and go back and forth. And then when I get it done, I'll put a little ruffle edge on it and I'll call it a baby blanket. But this yarn that I'm using today, if you are just joining, this is Lion Brand um, ice cream yarn, and it has lots of different colors. This is what it looks like. Lion Brand ice cream. Like I said, this is kind of a more subtle yarn. Normally they're nice bright colors. And this colorway I'm using is called Coffee. But I'm calling this my Mocha Latte blanket. Now this yarn does call for a size H8 hook. And being the rule breaker that I am, call the crochet police. I am using a size G6 hook this morning. This is a lightweight 3 yarn. And when I do this yarn, I use a smaller hook. I feel like it looks great. When I try to do the H8, I just feel like it's too big. My stitches are too sloppy. I don't like it. So, yeah, absolutely. Call the crochet police. April is breaking the rules again today. I know you all are shocked and appalled. I gave y'all a new police car too. Queen found the new police car for all you subscribers with all your fancy stickers. Hang on, pause for a moment. I've got to turn down. I have one of those heating pads on the back of my chair, and I'm roasting this morning. I got to turn it down a little bit. Okay, so we're coming up on the end here. This very last stitch that I do here, I like to do just a single crochet rather than the half double. I'm going to be putting a border on this very edge here. So I just kind of like how it'll be easier with just a um, single crochet rather than half double. Okay, so now we've got to turn our work and I've got to reassess and figure out where I'm at here. So if we look here, here's our crisscrosses. Here's our crisscrosses. Here's a half double. Here's a half double. Here's our half double crisscross. What I have next is another just easy row of half doubles. And this is where I've been kind of losing my count here. So I am going to have to pause and count this as we get a little farther along here and just make sure. I might have to frog it. I'll tell you guys right now because my counts have been getting a little wonky on me. So happens to the best of us. Let's see. Anvil said, "Did you twist it when he was pointing it as crochet police? What is Papa Wheeler up to?" Oh yeah, Papa Wheeler needs some finger surgery. I don't know if I can say it, but it's like when you go like this, pew pew pew. There's a word for that. That's what Papa Wheeler has. So anyhow, I don't want to get flagged for anything. I never know what words are going to be offensive on the TikTok. You never know. It means nothing, and all of a sudden it means something. So, hey Amanda, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. 140 people over here on TikTok this morning. We've got some folks over on YouTube this morning as well. For those that don't know, I'm live this morning. This is a variegated yarn, Betty. It is it just automatically. I'm not controlling any colors. I'm just letting it flow. This is what it looks like, kind of on the edge. If you can see that, this is the colorway coffee, but it is just really really pretty and I like it. And I love this ice cream yarn. I feel like the variegated in it is always nice and subtle. Some of these yarns, I'll get them and I'll start crocheting and the other Lion brand, the mandalas that they have. Sometimes the color changes in those are very abrupt and I don't like it. The ice cream yarn, it does not do that. And so I really love this yarn for baby blankets. It's really nice. But all I'm doing right now, guys, this whole row is going to be just a row of very simple half double crochets. This whole blanket is really easy. I like doing stuff like this where I don't have to think too hard. I do easy stitches. It ends up having great texture and very little effort on my part. Sometimes I don't want to be thinking as much, you know? So, anyhow, um, I need to crochet a baby blanket and I've never done it. What's the easiest stitch that has no holes? Um, my favorite pattern, my hands down all time favorite, is if you go over to Daisy Farm Crafts, there's a gal named Tiffany on YouTube. She is part of the Yarnspirations crew, and Tiffany does a baby blanket called Baby Kate's Blessing Blanket. It is hands down my favorite stitch to do as a baby blanket. I know a lot of other people have made it. It's a very famous pattern. I happen to have one here because I always have one in the works. But it does have holes, but they're not too big. You can still use it for baby blankets. These holes are pretty small. But this is Baby Kate's Blessing Blanket. This is the very center of the pattern. And this is hands down my favorite stitch for all of my baby blankets. This yarn I did is, um, I love this, not I love this. Oh gosh, what is it? It's the cotton yarn that I love so much. Oh man, I'm drawing a complete Bernat Softy Baby Cotton. That's what this yarn is. This is the colorway clear, but this is a very easy 2-row repeat. You do a crisscrossed double crochet, and then you do a row of single crochets. The texture is nice from both sides. This is the back. I actually like the look of the back even better. But if there's links for this on my link tree, but if you just go over to YouTube, put in Daisy Farm Crafts Baby Kate's Blessing Blanket, I hands down recommend this pattern for baby blankets. It's like I said, it's my favorite. I've made it a ton of times. Lots of different colors. I like doing the center white or off white, and then I put my edging a different color. So that's my recommendation. Um, I think other people might have some recommendations as well. If they have, feel free to share them on the chat, guys. We have a lot of folks here with a lot of crochet knowledge. It's not just me. So feel free to help answer that question if you guys want to chime in with what you have for a favorite baby blanket. I'm sure everybody has different ones. I'm really loving the Study of Snow, but I feel like that one has too big of holes for a baby blanket. I think it's better for like a kid blanket. So that one I really do like. And YouTubers, you guys seem kind of far away. Let me see if I can zoom y'all in a little bit more. Let's see if that's any better. I was looking on my TV and it seems like y'all are kind of far away from my hands. Can't really see what I'm doing. You can hear me yakking away. Yes, Betty asked, do I have the ruffle border posted? I do. Over on TikTok, there is a shell border video tutorial. Feel free to check that out over on my TikTok. My handle for everything, guys, is Wheeler 8 Acres on all the platforms. You can find me. I haven't really been on Facebook too much. I've been kind of not feeling the Facebook. It's just filled with so many ads. I don't want to be on there. I hardly see any of my friends' stuff anymore. It's just consumed with advertisements that I don't care about. I've tried getting rid of them. So my solution is I'm just not going on there. TikTok, I don't get bombarded with ads, you know? I get some as people are like trying to sell stuff or whatever. But for the most part, I don't get spammed with ads. And then over on YT, I pay the extra amounts so I don't get the advertisements, and I just like those platforms better. So anyhow, um, Betty said I'm not liking Facebook either. Yeah, I think a lot. It was a very good concept when it started out. I made connections with a lot of friends that I had lost in the past. I connected with family. I have a lot of cousins and stuff that, I don't have a lot of interaction with. It was really good to see their pictures of, their kids and family adventures and all that kind of stuff. Now I don't get that warm fuzzy feeling anymore. I still am on a lot of Facebooks. I love my Facebook canning group. I'm on a lot of the crochet groups and stuff. So there are still a lot of things that I really like about Facebook. The problem is I just have to go through all the garbage to get to those things. So, okay, guys, I got to do some counting. Talk amongst yourselves. Betty says, terrible now. They're always putting me in jail. Well, it's a good thing Papa Wheeler hasn't figured out how to do that because with me breaking all the crochet rules, I probably should be right there with you. Queen 530 said I'm hardly on there now too. Yeah, it's really changed. I know I'm not alone in my feeling. So anyhow, like I said, I got to count these stitches and see where I'm at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I'm feeling froggy. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. So basically, I need one less stitch, which means I have to go back here and go one less stitch on this very end. And that's what keeps happening to me. And I haven't worked on this for a few days. And so, anyhow, I'm not going to apologize. You know, this happens to all of us. So I had one extra stitch. That's why I'm doing these counts. And, you know, I'm not going to get upset about it. I just rip it out and go forward. So there I see all those cute little frogs. He is a cute little frog that I got for y'all to tease me when I have to rip out my crocheting. But you know, it happens to the best of us. I take it all in stride. I was watching. Oh, like I said, I was watching Cody and Creative Grandma yesterday. Poor Cody. He hit a deer. Well, the deer hit him, and pretty much totaled his car. Thank goodness he's okay. I'm sure other people watch Creative Grandma and Cody. I'm not alone. They're one of my favorite two characters. I always loved Glenda, but I'll tell you, having Cody on there, I just love that guy. He's such an entertainer. He gets that little party horn out and he does his little uh, party horn. And man, I just love watching their lives. They're so much fun. I have learned so much from Glenda at Creative Grandma over the years. She's one of my most favorite YouTube platformers that I watch. Of course, I've got a whole slew of them that I love, but I was watching their live yesterday, and poor Cody with his car. But I'll tell you what, the crochet community, they were amazed. But people just he's Cody doesn't have a big income. I kind of feel like. I don't know for sure, but you know, you have something devastating like that happen where you've got to get a whole new car. We've all been there in our younger days. You know, Cody's not, he's one of the younger crowd, right? And I know I've had times when I struggled, and boy, my grandparents, I felt so ashamed to go to them and ask for money. I didn't want to ask my family, but you know, one time when I was a kid, I was in my 20s. I don't know what I did. I still to this day don't know how I did it, but I overdrew my checking account like 300 bucks. And, you know, my husband back then, this is my ex husband, we were young, we were just starting out, paycheck to paycheck. And all these checks were bouncing, all my like $6 checks. You know, this is years ago when you know, things were, you got all these overdraft fees, and you know, we didn't. I don't think I had a debit card back then. I think this was pre-debit cards, if that's even possible. Maybe I had a debit card, but I don't remember. I remember just things. However, I did it, I overdrew myself, and man, I was mortified. But my grandparents, I lived next door to my grandparents during my young adult life. For about 15 years, I lived next door to them. They were really my husband and ex-husband and my best friends. I just love them dearly. And we used to go out to dinner and hang out, and my husband would go up on the deck and he'd have a beer with grandpa, and I'd go inside and chat with my grams. And anyhow, I was just mortified. And I went and I asked, and she said, "Oh, honey, don't worry." And she went and Grandpa always had cash. You know, he was out hitting the street and yard sailing. Hang on, I got to count. Hold this thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, 127, 128, 129, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, felt that. It's not a good feeling. It's embarrassing. Um, but thankfully I had family. Mama Wheeler, they she was in Prescott, not next door, so it wasn't as easy to like go ask my mom. It was easier to go ask grandma. And my grandma helped me out. And it, like I said, it was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever had happen in my life. And she made me feel so good. It was, I just love that woman. Um, and so I kind of felt like that's how Cody was feeling yesterday with having his car totaled and try to come up with the funds to get a new car. He didn't have full coverage on it. And man, the crochet community, um, they started sending him cash on the Cash App, that PayPal and stuff. And there was one gal on there, she donated $1,000 for Cody for his car fund. And there was another crocheter that follows Creative Grandma, and she gave Cody $500. I donated $25 to Cody and his car fund. And I felt good about it. You know, if I didn't have the money, I wouldn't do that. But man, and he wasn't begging. They weren't asking. That was the thing. They were just, you could just tell Cody was just down. And you guys, it just warmed my heart so much yesterday when I saw all those people like reach out and start out of the kindness of their heart, just like, they didn't ask. It was the coolest thing that I experienced. And I don't know if anybody else was on that live watching. You guys could probably be able to go back and rewatch it. But it was, I mean, Glenda was absolutely in tears, crying. And they were happy tears, right? It was just the coolest feeling when you can experience something like that and help another person out, especially when they're not. It's not like, he put up a GoFundMe or anything. It wasn't like that. It was just people out of the kindness of their heart, like doing what was right and helping him out. It was just the coolest. You could just tell it was the most humbling thing for them, and for me personally, to give $25, I felt good about it. Obviously, I couldn't give 1,000 or anything like that, but man, just so cool, just so cool to see when people come together for each other. I just think that is amazing. Um, Andel said it's nice to know people still have empathy for other struggles. Yeah, I mean, I think we've all been there, right? I'm sure all of us as humans at one point in our life have been down and out in a way where, somebody else just came through, whether it was at a restaurant, a pay it forward, you're in a drive through and the person in front of you pays for your order or something. It's just really cool to know, in a world where sometimes it feels kind of dark and alone and people don't care. Um, there are still a lot of us out there in this world, and I am honored to have so many people like that here on this live. I'm not here asking for the money. You guys know I have a job and I'm in a good situation, but you guys are so good and kind to each other. And I feel like that with the crochet community in general. And just the arts community, right? The fiber artists, the jewelry makers, the woodworkers. I think in general, it's the level of kindness that these people have in their souls is just incredible to me, and it just gives me pause. It really gives me pause. I couldn't not come on here and talk about this because yesterday I was just so moved, incredibly moved. Okay, I got to count these. Talk amongst yourselves. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 it was just so heartwarming. I couldn't I could believe it. I couldn't believe it, but I could believe it because my first instinct was, I can help. I can help. Let me contribute. And then to have the other gifts just like start coming in, it was incredible. Um, let's see. My Annie Key said, my husband and I had a big surprise bill, and a friend sent us $1,000. I cried. Yeah, it's just amazing when people come through like that for others. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that I was raised. You guys know Mama Wheeler on here, and I remember as a kid. My mom was a teacher, and during the Christmas, we would do adopt a family with her classroom, and we would always contribute to that. So I was raised. I was in an organization where we did a lot of community service and projects like that, and so I guess it's just kind of in me to do things like that when I can. Obviously, I'm not going to put myself out, and I'm not going to risk my family or something to help out. But by goodness, if I can help, I certainly will. So anyhow, it's pretty cool. So back to crocheting. Uh, Boy, I'm going to have a hard time with this name, but I'm going to try. Very Very Diana. The yarn that I'm using today, it is the Lion brand. Where's the label? I keep my yarn in these bags, and sometimes it's hard to. How about this? How about I just take off the label? Okay. So Lion brand ice cream yarn, and this colorway I'm doing today is coffee. Normally, the Iron Brand ice cream yarns are a lot more colorful, but I just really like this coffee yarn. To me, my blanket kind of looks like Mocha Latte, so it's a variegated yarn. It changes colors automatically. The color changes are very nice and subtle. So I'm not doing any color control on this, but you can kind of see how it's naturally changing. There's no like obvious like that's hideous or anything. Here you can kind of see where it started to change and went from this lighter color. And so it's really nice. I feel like the ice cream yarn really does a great job of this. You can kind of see here where it was kind of color changing. And anyhow, it's just really nice. It's a 3-weight yarn. Where did my hook go? Here it is. Goodness gracious, I'm losing my supplies. Anyhow, it is a 3-weight acrylic, and I am using a size G6 hook this morning. Now it calls for a size H8, but I use a smaller hook. I really like it. So anyhow, thank you for the gift, Katie. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Betty said, "Are you posting a pattern for this blanket or a tutorial?" So, for those that don't know, I am live this morning both over on YouTube and on TikTok. And we have, I think, about 9 people watching on YouTube. We've got 100 or so watching over on TikTok. When I'm done with the YouTube, now it takes about 24 hours to process, and then I work on it the next day. But this video that I am making right now, I will make public and you can rewatch it and it'll kind of show how we're doing this. But if you're just hopping on, when I first started, I don't remember how long my starting chain was, guys. I crocheted a chain until I got to about 30 inches. Okay, I like my baby blankets to be between 30 and 36 inches. And I want to put a very subtle border on this. I'll probably do a ruffle, but I can't guarantee that. I might just do a crab stitch on it. I like how a reverse single crochet or the crab stitch would complement these rows that I'm doing here. So anyhow, kind of a smaller stitch for the border to be determined. But I did my starting chain. I turned my work and then I did a row of half double crochets. Then I did a row of half double slip stitches. Then I did another row of half double crochets. This here is a row of half double slip stitches again. Then I did crisscrossed half double crochets. So normally I like to do double crochets, but I wanted something that was a little shorter. And so I thought, well, I'll just try some half doubles. And I liked the look of it. And then I did the crab stitch, or excuse me, the reverse, not reverse, the half double slip stitch again. So technically, this right here is the repeat. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6-row repeat. When you get here to this reverse half double, you can see I'm back to the double crochet here. And that's kind of what I'm doing. So here we just finished our second row of the half doubles. So that is what's right here. So now I need to turn my work and we're going to do these half double slip stitches on the next row. So I chain one and then I turn my work and now I'm going to work from the back. Now this is where I tied on. I will weave in these in. So just pretend like you're not seeing that. Yeah, Macy, I'm doing a baby blanket with this. I just wanted something with nice, easy texture. Okay, so this chain here counts as my first stitch. So I'm going to go into the second stitch and I'm going to make like I'm doing a half double crochet. I go under both bars, okay? I grab a loop and pull it up. So just like I'm going to do a half double, we have our 3 loops. Now, instead of yarning over and pulling through like I would do normally, I am not going to do that. I'm going to take this very first loop here and I'm going to pull him under these two like a slip stitch. So I pull it straight under and slide those two stitches on. Then I'm going to move to the next stitch. Again, make like I'm doing a half double and just slip stitch, slide those stitches right on over. And I am just repeating that the whole way down. And I'll give you kind of my little pointer on this as I get a little further along here. But this is called the half double slip stitch. So again, just like you're doing a half double, but now I'm going to take this first one here and slide it under these two guys here. So I just pull my hook under and slide those right on over. And so it does work up really, really quick. I am doing this essentially in place of a single crochet. I'm really liking how this row looks with the textures, and it just kind of is a nice, fun little change. Will I always do this? I don't know. Right now, it's a new stitch for me, so I'm playing around with it and seeing how I can incorporate it into my projects. But basically, as you get along here, if we turn our work, you can see how there's this like little line of texture that's formed. And that is from, you can see it all these that have this little, it's almost like a little cabling effect that looks so cool. That is your half double slip stitch. So I know it's a new stitch to a lot of people, and I just thought it's kind of fun to come on here and show you guys because I'm really enjoying it. So, anyhow, I hope that helps answer your question. Now, one of the things I experienced when I was first trying to do this, normally when I crochet, I turn the head of my hook towards me as I am like pulling it through. Okay, so I pull it like this if I'm going to do a half double. Now, of course, I'm not doing the stitch like that. So, out of habit, I want to pull my hook this way. And you can see I'm getting a little roadblock here as I am trying to pull this yarn underneath these. The way that this middle stitch comes off the back, it almost prevents me from pulling it through. So I was really like trying to like wiggle and struggle, and then I was getting both of them pulled through, and that isn't right. So what I found out, I learned the hard way, if I turn my hook actually towards the back and then I kind of pull it down, they slide right on. Okay, so I'll do that a few more times if you guys can see this. So instead of pulling it forward like this, I turn my hook the other way and then I pull it through and they slide right on like a dream. And you kind of get this fluid motion and you're just cruising along. So sometimes if you're struggling with your stitches, uh, making a slight little change like that can be helpful. Now, one person asked when I was doing this on another live a while ago, they said, does it hurt your wrist? And no, it doesn't. So as I'm doing this, let me move this over so you guys can see how my wrist is actually doing this. It's pretty much all in my fingers as I'm doing this. My wrist is really staying kind of like my normal crochet. It's not really changing a whole lot. If I do a normal crochet, this is how it looks with my wrist. So you can kind of see there's not a whole lot to maybe, turn that back a little bit. So anyhow, I hope that helps if you have never done this stitch before. But I think it's a really cool stitch. It's a really, really neat stitch. So anyhow, I hope you like it. Hey Hannah, good morning. I'm glad you're catching the live today too. Um, Cindy said I've never heard of it, but I like the look of this stitch. Yeah, it's a really fun, different stitch. I saw a short, and I don't remember what I was watching. Um, and as I was watching it, it was one of those shorts that we have all seen where somebody makes a video of them doing something really cool and they give you absolutely zero information as to what stitch they're doing. And then it required me to do a lot of research and a lot of screenshots and a lot of Googling and Google image searching to figure out what this stitch was that I was watching on the short. I find that incredibly frustrating when people do that. I've seen it happen so many times. I'm sure I'm not alone. Like, you guys, if I'm making something, I'm going to try to give you all as much information as I can. I'm not one that covets information, I'm not one that covets patterns. I like to try to give respect to pattern creators. You'll hear me give shout outs all the time to other content creators. I don't get why people are like that. If it's a cool stitch and you're going to go to all the effort to make a short or a video, tell the good folks what you're doing. You know what I mean? Tell the good folks what you're sharing with us. Because there's nothing that turns me off more than trying to figure out what somebody has done. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I try to understand why somebody would do that, and it just is completely illogical. I don't get it. So anyhow, rant over. Um uh yeah, Macy says, don't post it if you want to gatekeep it, right? Exactly. Don't go to the effort to make the video. You'll get more love from people by sharing information than trying to gatekeep it, I think. So I know all of you guys make a lot of videos. Share the details, guys. The reason you come on here and watch me is Meme says, I have to say, April, you are the best teacher ever. Thank you. Thank you. It's because I'm trying to share the information. I'm not sitting here crocheting like in the dark, not explaining what I'm doing. People wouldn't even find that interesting. I watch people like that and I'm like, what is it exactly you're doing? And the other thing that I find really off putting is people get annoyed when I ask a question. Like, I'm sorry, people, if you're going to go on live, you should expect to answer the same question numerous times. That's the whole point. It's not like we're having a Zoom call where everybody gets on at 8 a.m. and we walk through the entire project and I share all the details and then, we all move forward. No, people are coming on at different times. Uh, I can't get annoyed by that. I just, it baffles me. It really baffles me. Um, so let's see. Sparky says, I would totally post how I did everything if I knew. I just make stuff up and hope. Yeah, I know. I'm like that too, Sparky. Sometimes I watch other people's videos and I don't know what it is, and then I have to try to figure it out. It would make it easier if everybody just shared the love. Share the love. That's all I ask. So anyhow, this stitch that I'm doing today, I am doing the half double slip stitch. So let's, for those that are just hopping on, the half double slip stitch, we've done a lot throughout this blanket. And what it looks like is this little ridge of texture right here. And you can see it repeated a lot of times in this project that I'm doing. So the way we do this stitch is I've turned my work, so I'm working on the back. Okay, the row below was a row of half doubles, but you can see here's this little stitch of texture that I'm doing. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to yarn over and we're going to make like we're doing a half double crochet. So we go under these two bars. I'm not going in the front loop or the back loop only, I'm going under both, and I grab up a loop just like I'm going to do a half double crochet. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. Now with a traditional half double crochet, you would yarn over and pull through all 3. And we're doing these a little bit different. So what we're doing is we're taking this very first loop and we are going under these 2 loops here. So I turn my hook and I just grab that loop and I pull it through, and the other 2 loops slide right on. So let's repeat that a few more times for those that are just seeing this for the first time. So we grab that loop up. So here's our 3. So I got to take this one and put him under these 2 right here. Okay, so I just grab this and pull it through. Same thing. Half double, don't finish. Take this one and put it underneath these 2. This is called a half double slip stitch. So again, slide this one right underneath. Let me try to put it forward a little bit so maybe you guys can see a little different angle. So you can see how those just, my hook goes right through and slides on. And that's all there is to the half double slip stitch. But again, you can kind of see how that great texture is looking. And it's just really providing some definition. So I am using this stitch in place of what I would normally do as a single crochet. And it's adding a little bit of definition. A lot of times I'll get this same type of definition if I work in the um, back loop only or the front loop only. But this, you're actually doing a stitch, and this is what the back looks like. So it has a nice look to it as well. Now you don't have as many ridges of texture, but you do kind of have the one here. That is from our half double that we did. And then, of course, this is our crisscrossed half doubles. We're going to get to that in just a minute. So, anyhow, for those that don't know me, I'm going to continue working on these half doubles here until we get to the end, but let's do a little housekeeping. So my name is April, and I am not a professional crocheter. It's just my hobby. I come on here. I have a real 9 to 5 job, if you will. And I crochet every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings with my friends here on TikTok. And for those who don't know, I'm live streaming over on YouTube as well. After I get done with the YouTube, it usually takes about 24 hours to process. I will release this video. And so if you want to make this pattern, you can go back and watch the live that we did. Now there is all the chit chat in it. It's not like a clinical tutorial or anything. It's basically what you're watching today. You can go back and rewatch it, and I'm explain how to do these stitches and the counts and all that kind of stuff. So that will be available, not today, most likely tomorrow. Now, the blanket that I did yesterday was the Christmas blanket, the Christmas ripple. This morning, that video will be through processing, and I will get that posted up on YouTube so you guys can all go back and watch that. But I come on live every, like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings, and I come on at 7:30 Central Time. I live in Northeast Alabama, and anyhow, it's just fun for me to come on here and crochet with my friends. And I'm coming up in the end here. In the end, I like to do a single crochet. I'm going to come back and I'm going to attach a border along here. So that's kind of the what I'm doing with the edging here. Now, this yarn that I'm using, for those that don't know, this is the yarn called Lion Brand Ice Cream Yarn, and this is the colorway Coffee. It is a 3 weight. It's a light acrylic yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and I'm using a size G6 hook. But I just wanted something that's very simple with kind of some texture to kind of show off the yarn. Nothing too complicated, but just a nice subtle pattern. And so all I did was sat down and started crocheting and put some stitches together. And the way that this started out, I'm going to turn my work here because we're going to be going back the other direction. And I've had a hard time keeping track of my stitches. So you guys can see I've got my little stitch markers here as I'm going to start these crisscrosses next. And I'm going to have to count those. And there's a probability that I might have my counts off and I'll have to rip that out. But that's just kind of how this project is going. But when we first started out, I started out down here at the bottom and I just did a starting chain. I don't remember how many chains I did. I crocheted till I got to about 30 inches. I like my baby blankets to be between 30 and 36 inches. So I did my starting chain, then I turned and I did a half double slip stitch, another half double. So each time I was, turning my work as I'm doing these. Half double slip stitch, half double slip stitch, crisscross, half double, and then a half double slip stitch. This is the repeat. So it's a little 6-row repeat. And then I am just stacking these up on each other, and that's how we're getting this fabulous texture and how this is looking. So if we look here, this is a half double and a half double. Come down here, half double, half double. Here's the half double slip stitch. So you can see I'm ready to start this half double crisscross. I had never done a half double crisscross before. Normally I do double crochet crisscrosses, and I like how those looked, but I wanted something a little not so tall. And I thought, well, let's try it and see. So I'm going to chain one, and that is going to be my first stitch here. And then you can see here, I do another or another, excuse me, yes, a half double into this second stitch here. So I'm trying to create kind of a straight edge here where I'm going to be attaching the border. Then I'm going to start what I'm calling the half double crisscross. I don't know if this is technically a real stitch or not, guys. Like Sparky said, where you just make stuff up, I made this up. So, if it's really a stitch or not, I couldn't tell you. But here's how I did it. I did a half double. I skipped this one and I went into the next one and I did a half double crochet. Then just like I would do if I was doing a double crochet, I'm going to come back and pick up this one that I missed. So I yarn over and then I go all the way through under those bars, grab that loop up, and then I yarn over and pull through all three. And it makes them crossed. And I'll slow this down a little bit and we'll go over this stitch exactly. But let me get away from this corner a little bit and we'll kind of move our way along. So half double after I skipped one. Now here's the one I skipped. I have to come back and do another half double in that one and crisscross them. Sorry guys, I am missing a lot of comments. Dana said go slower for people. Follow and learn, please. Yes, as I get a little further away from the corner here, I will slow it down. Hey Karen, good morning. Um, Hannah said, I was always wondering if this is a thing. Miss Mary said, I've never heard of this stitch. Like I said, I don't know if it's a real stitch. I just do my thing. Let's see. Angela said, still working on the granny square afghan. I can't get with it. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Hannah said, I love Lion Brand. This is Lion Brand that I'm using. I'm using a 3-weight yarn. So this yarn, for those that are just coming on, this is Lion Brand ice cream yarn, and it is a 3-weight yarn. It's in the colorway coffee. Now this yarn calls for a size um, H8 hook, and it is a 3-weight acrylic, and I use a size G6 hook. I like the look of the G6 hook with it. When I do the H8, it feels a little too big and sloppy, so I take it down a notch. So anyhow, that's the yarn that I'm using. Let's see. The stripes look like you're changing colors. Yeah, the ice cream yarn, it is, I don't know if it's considered like a self striping or if it's considered a very, I don't know what it's considered, but it changes colors. It's cool. It looks really good and it has nice subtle color changes. So you can see here like it was kind of a lighter or darker and then it kind of went light, but it's nothing like real stark that changes. You can kind of see here how it changed. It was light, a darker color, and then went light again. So I really feel like it does a nice job of changing the colors for me. I'm not controlling the color at all. I'm just letting it flow. Hey, Amy, good morning. Let's see. Kayla said, if it's really a stitch or not, I couldn't tell you. Me, the first time did half double. Yeah, I've never done one. Hey, Yolanda, buenos dias. Good morning, good morning. Cherry Coke says, I've never heard of it, but I like it. Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to catch up with the comments. There's a lot of people on TikTok this morning, y'all. If I miss your comment, please know it is not intentional. I'm not trying to skip over you or ignore you. We have fabulous moderators here and a great group of people. They will help to try to fill in the blanks as I'm missing out. But thank you for everybody being here with me this morning as I'm working on this little baby blanket. I'm going to slow down and get to these stitches and kind of show you guys exactly what I'm doing. We have this whole row to work, so no fear, we're going to get into this. But just a little housekeeping for those that don't know, my name is April, and I keep seeing lots of new followers pop up. So welcome, welcome. I'm glad you have found us. I'm glad you found me. Welcome to my channel. And I'm so glad that you're here. So the row that I'm doing this morning, we've kind of making some progress here. We're doing a fun little texture row, and I am doing crisscross half double crochets. I don't know if that's a legit stitch. I just said I don't want a double crochet. I normally do double crochets. They're a little too tall. So here's an example of when I do the crisscross double crochets and how it looks. You can see if we put them side by side, these are the same kind of thicknesses and weights of yarn, but you can see this one is much taller if we line up our little rows here. And I just thought, well, I want it to be a little shorter, make it a little kind of squattier and look cool. So I thought, well, instead of doing a double crochet, I'm going to try a half double and see what happens. So that's where we're at today. I'm doing crisscrossed half double crochets. I don't know if it's a legit stitch, but it is now because I'm doing it. So the way I do it is, this is where we had our little stitch that we finished here. I'm going to skip this stitch here, and into this next stitch, I'm going to put a half double crochet, and I'm going to go underneath both bars. So I put my hook under, grab that loop up. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, and then I yarn over and I pull through all 3. So if you're a very beginner, that is a half double crochet. Now, one thing I just totally screwed up. Um, you can see here, see how this stitch is in this? I was supposed to skip one. I said I was going to skip one and then I didn't. So we're going to rip that out. Get our little froggy action going. Ribbit, ribbit. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to skip this one, and into the next one, I'm going to put a half double. So there's our little half double. Now here is the one that I skipped. I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick this one up. So the way I do that is I yarn over, and then I, from the front, go into that space under those bars. So my hook goes out the back. Then I yarn over and I grab a loop up. And now we have 3 again. And I yarn over and I go through all 3. So it's a half double crochet. It's just back into this space that I skipped. So let's do this a few more times. So I skip one, now into the next one. We're going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over, go under all 3. There's our half double. Now you can see here, this is the one that I skipped. So I need to do a half double in this one. So I yarn over. Now into this space, I put it through, all the way through, grab that loop and pull it all the way back through. Now you can see we're back here to having 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. So it's a half double, but instead of just working it along the top here, I'm crisscrossing them. And that is giving it this little texture. You can see these rows that I've repeated. Those are all our little crisscrossed half doubles. And again, we're going to skip one into the next half double. Now here's the one that I skipped, yarn over, going to go into that one, put it right through that hole, grab that loop from the back, pull it up, then yarn over and go through all 3. So if we were going to do this as a crisscross double crochet, I'm going to show you guys the difference, just since you're probably curious. Well, what's the difference? Here's one. I'm going to go ahead, same thing. I'm going to skip one. Now into this next one, I'm, instead of doing a half double, I'm going to do a double crochet. So I go under the 2 bars, grab that loop up. Now we have 3. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that's a double crochet. You can see it kind of makes it a little taller. Same thing. Here's the one I skipped, yarn over, same exact process, go down into that hole, grab up a loop. I have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there is your crisscross double crochet. And you can see he's just a little taller. So all we're doing, instead of doing the crisscross, this is a very popular stitch. A lot of people know how to do this. All I've done is, instead of doing doubles, I'm doing half. The exact same stitch, Just change it, instead of doubles, do half doubles. And that's all I'm doing. Like I said, I don't know if it's a real stitch, but you know, I guess it is now because I'm doing it. If it's not, call the crochet police, breaking the rules, making new stitches. Okay, yarn over. Here's our half double. Here's the one I skipped. So we're going to yarn over and again go back down into that stitch. I'm shedding, yarn over, pull through all three. Aren't they cute, those little crisscrosses? I just love them. Such great texture, and it's really pretty easy to do. It's really not that complicated. Hey Brianne, good morning. Savannah said pretty stitch. I think it is a pretty stitch. Thank you, Savannah. I really like how it looks on this blanket. So here we go again. Let's do a few more for those that are just learning this. Skip one, into the next, half double. Okay, here's the one I missed. So again, I'm going to yarn over, put my hook forward, go under those two bars, put my hook out the back, grab the loop up. Now we have three, yarn over and pull through all three. And now they're crossed. Skip one, into the next, half double. Come back, pick up this little guy, yarn over, right through the front, out the back, grab that yarn, pull it up, yarn over, pull through all three. Really easy. So here's the real challenge. As I mentioned before, I've had a lot of problems with this blanket keeping my stitch counts accurate. And somebody asked earlier, what are the stitch markers for? The stitch markers are for me to keep my counts. So basically on this row below right here, from the very edge to this stitch marker, I have 25 crisscrosses. So as I near this up here, right, you better believe I'm going to be counting all these new little crisscrosses that we're making. If it's not 25, I'm going to frog it out and make sure that it is 25. So that's why I have my stitch markers. If you're a new crocheter, it really helps to keep your stitch counts accurate. But basically, that's all it's doing is helping April not lose her mind and make sure her blanket turns out nice and square shaped without getting like wonky and walking in. So what I mean by walking in, see, I suspect it's off. So if we look at this straight, let me line this up straight with the camera. See how this is nice and straight? See how all of a sudden it goes whoop, curves in? I suspect when I get over here to my stitch marker, my count is going to be wrong. And I'm going to have to frog all this back and make sure I get enough stitch markers. Now it could be accurate. It could be that I just need to go like that and straighten it up. These are things I don't know. These are things I don't know until I get over here. So this is where I counted all my little half doubles and I made sure I had the right amount. Here's my crisscross. So if I follow this up, my 25th crisscross should be right in this area. So I have a few more to go. And then I'm going to stop and count these and make sure that I have the accurate amount. And that's the only way I've been able to keep this blanket kind of square the way it should be. I don't know why I'm struggling with it so much. I think it has a lot to do with these half double slip stitches. It changes the angle of how these are being worked. So technically, this stitch I just put in right here, see how it's kind of in line with this? This should be number 25. So talk amongst yourself. I am going to count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that. It is right on the money. So, it wasn't a case of it curling in. I just need to, sometimes you got to kind of pull your blankets and get them, properly aligned. And so it is the right amount. So there's what our edge is looking like. Okay. But again, take the time to count. I don't like doing it all the time, guys, But in a situation like this, I will count the whole row because it's easier to take the time and count now than it is to frog 20 rows. Trust me, I've done that. I've done it the hard way too. So as I get over here to this edge now, this is where I'm going to be finishing up. Here's where I counted 50 of the half doubles. This is another 25 of my crisscrosses. So as I work across, when I get over here, and you can see I moved my stitch marker up. Okay, so I took it from where it was down here, moved it up so that as I'm moving along, I know where I'm at for the next rows. And I do this a lot with projects that I'm struggling with. Here's another example. You guys saw me work on this blanket. Same thing. You can see my stitch markers kind of all over this as I'm doing my counts. This is the back, but if we turn it on the front here, you can see I've got more stitch markers. See, I'm doing more of these crisscrosses. And so again, I'm counting these. Here's where I started at the very beginning, and I'm making sure that this stays aligned as I work my way up. Because the end goal of this is I'm again trying to keep these edges very straight. And this is one of the hardest things to learn as you're making rectangle blankets like this, is to keep your tension the same and your counts the same so that this doesn't end up going in like crooked. Okay. So don't be afraid to use your stitch markers wherever you're at in your crochet journey. I've been crocheting 40 years. I have no shame. I use stitch markers all the time when I need them to keep myself straight and aligned. Jen X said, "I keep dropping or adding a stitch or two." Absolutely. So it's very common when you get to the edge over here, that sometimes you'll get an extra stitch or you'll miss a stitch and then it ends up changing your counts. And so that's why a lot of people use stitch markers. So the other thing too, if you're just starting out, um, this was my first stitch here. So what I recommend, and a lot of people will recommend this, if you're unsure, after you make this first stitch, put a stitch marker in so that you know this is where I first started. So as I come back around, when I see this stitch marker, it's going to identify where I should be starting and stopping. Macy says sometimes the tension will vary a little or the yarn does weird stuff. Yes, my favorite thing is when the yarn does weird stuff, right? But it's so true. I know we have all been there. I've had times where yarn kind of like thins out. You're like using a 4-weight yarn and then all of a sudden it gets like micro thin. And it's kind of like, what is this? Do I cut this out? Do I keep going? Like, what do I do? Inevitably, it's always in a spot where it's like a critical spot that I don't really feel like I can, remove that chunk or something. But then it kind of makes it look wonky. And, you know, case in point, when the yarn does weird stuff. Okay, so um sorry, I know I've missed a lot of the comments, guys. Thank you guys, everybody over on TikTok who is tapping your screen. 13,000 likes this morning. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Hannah said, when I do waves or chevron, I always mess up my stitch counts. Yeah, I was working on this chevron yesterday. And this is one of my favorite chevrons to work on, but it's important to keep these counts. Otherwise, your waves will get kind of messed up, and then it'll be frustrating. I totally understand. Betty said, I still have trouble with my edges. There you go. There's what I consider a long-term crocheter having the same thing that I do. It doesn't matter. I've been crocheting 40 years. I still encounter these problems, just like sometimes a new crocheter. And I think to myself, man, I should be better than this. I shouldn't have to be struggling like this. But whether it's the pattern or the yarn or just my mental capacity, I don't know what it is sometimes. So I just whip out my stitch markers and I use them and I just take it in stride. I just do my thing. And if I have to frog, I frog. And I try not to let it like get me frustrated or get me down. If I do get frustrated, And like if I'm working on this project and I have to frog a lot, I will put this project to the side. I will pick up something else that's easier, that is flowing, that I can just take a step back and woosah and chill and not have to get frustrated. So that's a lot of reasons why I have lots of work in progress, guys, because I change up. If I get bored with something, if I get frustrated, I switch to something else. And that helps keep my mental state positive, right? I don't want to get like buried into that. Kayla said, I applaud you because I try to use them and never stick to it, but I know I should. Macy says, some of my mandala is doing that, and I didn't know what to do. Now I'm not sure if I should. Yeah, I don't know either. Mama Wheeler said, it's senior day at Thrift. She's got to run. Mama, have a good day. Find me some crochet hooks, woman. I dropped one of my favorite I9s under the couch. And find me some of these 23 centers. Oh, 29 center. I really like these pink 29 centers. They're my favorite. I have another one here in my yarn I've been using. Look, this is another 29 center. I really like these. This is a size I9. Um, I love them. I love the 29 centers, and I only have two of them. So there you go, Mama Wheeler. Get out there, get busy. I'm going to send you good crochet vibes to find some vintage crochet hooks for me. Um, I'm a lazy crocheter. Only took me 4 months to realize. Haven't done complicated yet. Annika, there's nothing wrong with that. There's times I do complicated, and there's times I don't want to think about a pattern. I don't want to count. I am very content to work on something like a granny square. I don't need to do something complicated all the time. I crochet because it makes me happy. I find it very relaxing and it's kind of my therapy, right? I sit here in my chair. I listen to my book. Oh, I just finished a great book. I'll tell you guys in a second. But it's my time for just chilling and relaxing. So I don't feel like I always have to be doing something like super complicated to find joy in that. Sometimes, this whole ripple blanket I was doing yesterday, I love doing this pattern. It is double crochets. It works so fast. I just buzz through it. I love changing up the colors. I do it in a baby blanket. Here I'm doing it in Christmas colors. I want to do like kind of a beachy one. You know, again, double crochets. Not for me, it's not complicated. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we have to, sometimes not put that pressure on ourselves. 23 messages. You guys are blowing it up today. Thank you. Thank you. Shells and ruffle borders hide a lot. Absolutely, Betty. Good call. Kimberly said, I'm stuck on the same pattern because it's easy, right? Sometimes we overcomplicate the easy stuff. Let's see. Kimberly said it's the Suzette pattern. I've not heard of that. I'm going to have to check that out. Hubby wants me to finish my projects before starting more. He doesn't understand. I'm very lucky that my husband, he really doesn't care or get involved in my crochet. Um, I leave him alone with his trucks and his shop stuff. And so we just kind of, you know, uh, he takes an interest. I will show him something and he says, oh, yeah, babe, that looks good. But outside of that, so anyhow, time check. Yes, this yarn, Macy, is ice cream yarn. Lion brand, it is coffee flavor. It's a flavored yarn. I feel like the ice cream yarn always do feel like flavors, but it's really pretty. It's just it changes colors automatically. I'm not controlling the colors at all. Now I love ice cream, and you can see some of these other colors that are here. They have fun, bright colors. I love this. I love this yarn. It's one of my favorites. It's a 3 lightweight yarn. I'm using a size G6 hook. It calls for a H8. I never use an H8 with it. I always like the smaller hook. So anyhow, I buy 3 at a time and they seal them up in these packs. I already used one, so I'm on my second skein. I find that 3 is enough for my baby blankets. sometimes I only need two, but it just depends on, what I'm doing. So, anyhow, I really like the Lion brand yarn. Uh, uh, deep, deep in a bingo. I think I'm going to call you Bingo, but I think your name is Deep in a Bingo. Some of the handles are truly creative that I find on the TikTok this morning. Hey, Sonia, good morning. Gigi said, April, I finished my granny square blanket and it's bulky at the joint. Should I iron to flatten? I would not iron it, Gigi. What I would do is I would get it wet and I would try to block it. So, especially if it's acrylic yarn, you do not. I've seen people like use flat irons on yarn. I do not recommend that. So what happens is when you apply that amount of heat to an acrylic yarn, it really changes, in my opinion, like the molecular structure. Do I have anything scientific to back that up? No. But I don't recommend the iron. So try just putting some water on it, and then if it's a big blanket, what you can do is you can go on Amazon and they have those play mats. They come in different colors, but they interlock together. So one section will have like a puzzle that sticks out like this, and then they kind of latch like this. But they're big foam, and they all snap together. There's I think I might have them on my link tree in the Amazon crochet favorites. Because I have a set of those. So I'll take that and I'll put them out on the floor like a play mat. And then I will get my blanket damp, and I will then take the little T pens. They're little stick pens you can buy. They don't rust. Make sure you get the ones that don't rust. They're specifically for what's called blocking. And then pin your work. So I would take this and I would stretch it out and get it into the shape that I want. But having it wet will allow these fibers to loosen up. Okay. And then you'll pin it into space. You'll put these pins, especially if it's like bulked up right here. You could try to like stretch it out and then put your pins, use your pins to kind of stretch it out. That is what I would do, but I would not recommend the iron. Those people that use the flat irons on their yarn, if you do that, there's no shame. You can do whatever you want. There's no crochet police that can tell you not. I personally do not do those things. I feel like it makes things wonky. Speaking of you, reminded me that I need to finish my audiobook today. I've got 25 minutes left, says Macy. So the audiobook I just finished, I don't remember the author, but it was Stranger in the Woods. Really, really good book. I watched all Thanksgiving, or I didn't watch, I listened all Thanksgiving. I couldn't like stop. I just crocheted and kept listening. I was in deep. The book was really good. It was called Stranger, I believe Stranger in the Woods. Um, the Great Alone, I finished that book also, Veronica. I really liked The Great Alone as well. I swear, Kristen Hanna, I can't watch a book without having a box of tissues. I cried my eyes out on The Great Alone. Very good, right? Um, anyhow, Brenda, I do not have a pattern for this. However, if you look on YouTube tomorrow, I will release this pattern because I'm on a time check, guys. I'm trying to catch up on some of these comments, but I kind of break it down on the live today. I've been on for an hour and a half, and we've gone over this pattern, and I've showed how to do all of the stitches. So it was a half double slip stitch, another half double slip stitch, and then a crisscross, and then it's another half double. This is the repeat right here. So you could go back and watch the YouTube if you want to make this pattern. So anyhow, I know I've got a time check, guys, but let me finish working through these comments. Thank you, everyone, for the screen taps. 20,000 likes over on TikTok this morning, and thank you guys for giving the video a thumbs up on YouTube as well. I really appreciate the support. So anyhow, the book I just finished was um, Stranger in the Woods. The book before that I just finished was The Great Alone, and now I'm watching or I'm listening to this was us, or this it's a movie right now. I can't. I'll tell you tomorrow what it is. Gigi, thank you so much for the hand hearts. Betty said, "Where did you get the ice cream?" Um, uh, I believe Hirschner's has ice cream. Um, Maybe Mary Maxim has it. I can't remember which one, Betty. Also, Joanne sells the ice cream yarn. I really, really like it. I love the ice cream yarn. Let's see. Yeah, so my YouTube. Oh, D. Bingo is D. Thank you, D. I didn't. I was putting the P with your first name. So thank you so much, D. And thanks for being here. MJR says they also make super size skeins of ice cream. So MJR, I was looking yesterday on I don't remember what site I was on, and they have this one ice cream that's called Limelight. Have you guys seen the Limelight? I don't know why, but I feel like I need to have this green in my life. And it's one of the jumbo lion. I think maybe I saw it at Joanne's, but it's a really big roll and it's called Limelight. It looks delicious. Um, let's see. I love the Bernat blanket yarns because I always end up getting frustrated with normal twisted yarns. Yeah, for sure. Uh, let's see. Sorry guys, I'm really behind on the comments today. I'm really trying. I'm really trying. Yeah, D, everything is a half double crochet today. So half double slip stitch, another half double, and then these are crisscrossed half doubles. So I should call it the half double baby blanket because it's full of half doubles. Um, Okay, Gen X says I got to get to work. So, guys, I'm going to have to sign off, but I hope everybody has a great day. And I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm starting a new baby blanket, guys, or a new kids blanket. It's going to be lots of fun. So, I hope to see you guys all tomorrow. But have a great day, everybody. Thanks again for all the support. Bye for now.